Hi, this is Nick Williams, here with Julie Wickie. Hi Julie.
Hi there.
We are having some fascinating conversations about the feminine, and let's talk about leadership and leadership in the feminine, because we tend to think of, well, I suppose it has been to a large extent, that leadership has been a very male, masculine type activity about making things happen, having direct impact, authority, and yet, you know, we both have a fascination for the feminine and how the feminine can contribute to leadership. What's your take on that?
Well, I think the problem has been for so many years now, probably since the Romans came. We've had such, the Romans, it's all the Romans' fault. But there have been so many patriarchal societies, so matriarchal societies are no longer probably hardly in our DNA, in how we can operate to lead in a feminine way, in a more authoritative feminine way. It's not valued. It doesn't really have a strong voice, and for a lot of women or people who feel undervalued in terms of their leadership, they feel that there's no place for them in the market as it exists. But that's a good story, and you know, it's time for many people, men and women, to start to learn about what the feminine is about when it leads the way in business and society. And it is about taking the whole thing from a completely different approach and learning about talking about feelings and emotions, not indulging them or acting them out, but having a level of responsibility so we can talk about how we feel. And I know a lot of companies are doing that, and people are doing that in their meetings and things, but it's more of that, but also more sharing from the heart, giving love and nurturing to business, you know, really valuing it, but in a way that is less doing and more just present with the business, allowing the business to grow up from childhood.
Do you think each business has a soul? Do you have that sense of businesses having a soul often?
I'm sure it does. I'm sure every business does, actually. I'm sure it has a unconscious, deep aspect to itself. I mean, because it's born, it's created, just like a baby. You know, and so it comes with its package, and it'll have a heart and a soul. And if you start to recognise that and heal at a heart level, but also at an unconscious soul level, you know, you start to pull out some of the major blocks that keep a business stuck or expanded, but just in one place.
Because I was thinking, you know, part of the feminine would be nurturing that soul of a business. Often, like when I'm writing books, for example, I think, you know, it has a seed of an idea, and the feminine is about nourishing that idea to become what it can become. And you know, the business potential may exist in potential, but the feminine is about nourishing that, isn't it? Allowing it to become what it could become.
That's right. And sometimes it's about using your voice in terms of nourishing and nurturing. Sometimes you've got to be tough. Like, don't do that.
So the feminine is got a warrior-like aspect to it too.
It has.
What's that about?
Definitely now. I mean, I think as I was developing my ability to show up in the feminine side of my business with my husband Nigel, we have a farm. I think to begin with I was very silent and loving and floating around and thinking, oh well, I don't have to be known. I'm this unspoken piece that underpins the success of my organisation or something like that. But now it goes into the next phase, because you keep moving forward in the feminine and the masculine together. And I think it just gets stronger and stronger and stronger. So you really are, you speak out and you're not afraid to. And it's, you know, what you say is maybe completely off the wall or a bit different, but because you value yourself enough to say it, it gets heard.
Great. And where are you going with your kind of feminine leadership at the moment? Where's your impulses, just out of curiosity?
Well, I think it's about helping a lot of women in business and in their everyday lives to get back behind the steering wheel of their life. You know, really start to steer the car again. Because of our lack of value, our underconfidence, the way we've perceived ourselves in our world, or it's a man's world, what could we do? We've very much taken the victim side or fall into the victim side of our lives. And so a lot of work I do with women now is helping them to absolutely drop the victim story. We've been using that for thousands of years. It's time. There's
some truth to it, and it's a great cop-out as well.
That's right, exactly. And they're very real stories, yes, but when a person totally gets beyond it, they step right into leadership. But also, for me, I think I think the feminine is like the front end of a rocket. Looking at all the new experiences that are coming up and feeling them, and new territory. And the masculine side of us, inside of us, or in our partnerships or relationship, is very much the engine supporting and driving the rocket into new areas.
So you see women as the pioneers in consciousness, in a way.
I feel it's the only way the world is going to be saved is through the feminine, and starting to learn that, whether we're a man or a woman.
So the feminine in men as well.
Oh, absolutely.
So it's about pioneering in consciousness, so it's less about action, more about awareness and consciousness.
Right, right.
And do you have a definition of leadership? You know, if somebody says, what's your definition? What's your response?
For me, leadership is seeing other people and situations where there are problems, where we can help and be in service, which is what a leader is, as being more important than our pain, ourselves, what's going on for us, our shyness, our embarrassment, our self-attack, to make the goal, the problem, or where we need to be in service, more important than who we are or what we believe about ourselves. And that's leadership.
Wow. So if that's the definition of leadership, is one of the first responsibilities of a leader their own kind of inner work and their own inner healing, in your mind, then?
I think in order to get to leadership, there has to be healing. Healing our dependent and independent sides of our nature, of course. And then I think the exciting thing about leadership for me is when we start to recover all the hidden gifts that we buried long ago in our childhood. So we win back playfulness, irresistibility, and leadership naturalness, leadership qualities and gifts that inspire people. And
make us followable.
Make us followable, yeah. And being authentic. Being real and authentic and sexy with integrity.
With integrity, I'm going to say, because it's the integrity bit that people will pick up on as well. Because lots of people have those things but then use them to meet their own needs, don't they?
Yes.
So how do you make sure you stay in integrity, if you don't mind me asking?
No, not at all. Well, integrity to me is where you've fully integrated something inside of you. So you will no longer leak that out when you are in a business environment or anything else. You're not there to take from who, you're there in service. You're not in sacrifice, you're in service. So you're not taking in any way. In personal relationships, I know I'm an older lady now, but if you're young and you're attractive and you have a relationship, you can get very tempted. So in a personal relationship, when I'm sexually attracted to someone, because I am, you're a gorgeous guy, you know what I mean? But to be in integrity is I will always talk to somebody as if my partner was sitting right beside me. And also, the one thing that makes us fully in integrity is if we choose love rather than need.
Because I think Chuck, one of your teachers, talks about kind of handing your gifts up to heaven or whatever higher power you might believe in order to kind of make them safe, so that they get used for the highest good, not just for your own personal gain.
That's right, exactly. Love, heaven, whatever it is. If you literally stand up and put your hand up to work for a much greater power than we can ever imagine, then it will make sure we stay on track. And if we're off track, we get tripped up pretty quickly.
Brilliant. Yeah. Well, thank you very much. It's been fascinating. Really enjoyed this conversation. Thanks, Julie.
All right.
Hope you've enjoyed it.